people, golf is just a game that they watch on TV, and it probably puts them to sleep. For another group of people, it's just a game they play with their buddies on the weekends, drink a few beers, maybe a few too many, and just tell stories of what they've had, experiences in their life. For another group of people, and I include myself in this group, golf is a competition. It's the most frustrating, exhilarating, dramatic, hair-pulling, fulfilling, and rewarding thing I can do with my life. And it's hard to explain it because it's just a game, but as a person who considers himself an introvert, there's not many times in my life where I'm really emotional in different ways. And I guess the point of today's speech is to really show how golf can be more than just a boring game and can actually be a very emotional game, and how it's impacted my life in that way. When I'm sitting around my buddies, my high school teammates, my college teammates, we'll be telling stories of specific shots on different courses from 6 years ago, sometimes longer, recalling the exact temperature of the wind, the shot, how far we had. My wife will be sitting next to us and wondering how in the world we can recall exact details of some course we played so long ago. And it's really because we were in the moment. And this is something I talked about in a previous speech about being in the moment, and golf is one of those activities that I'm fully engaged in. And a lot of that is due to the emotions that it brings out. So I'd like to tell a few stories about times where different emotions were brought about while playing golf. I'll start with probably the most common emotion that you experience in the golf course, and that's frustration. It was my sophomore year of college, and we were on a spring break trip. Now, first of all, our college golf coach had promised us that we were going on a spring break trip down to Florida to play Daytona Beach with the Blue Monster. Well, of course, the Rockhurst University Division II budget came into play, and we ended up going to North Texas instead. And as most of you know, in March, even in Texas, the weather may not be so nice. We got there, and it was actually sleeting as we pulled up to the golf course, and it was about 35 degrees for a high during that first round. And of course, I had the flu, so I wasn't very happy about being there, about as unhappy as I could be at a golf course. And luckily my parents were there, so I was able to stay with them during the trip and not get my teammates sick. But as we got on the first hole, I had about 15 layers on and really wanted to get out there and just get the round over with. So I tee off in the first hole, hit a little shot to the right, goes right towards a group of trees that my parents happen to be standing under. And as I walking down the fairway, my parents let me know that the ball had stayed in the tree and did not come down. So of course it's freezing and I'm feeling terrible in the first hole. I got to run all the way back to the tee box and try it again. I finished the first hole with an 8. Not a good start. So as I go on through the round, I'm not doing too great. And I get to the 12th hole, and this time I tee off, everything seems fine. And right as I tee off, a bird, actually probably a very large bird, you couldn't really see it, comes flying down, and the path of my golf ball and the path of that bird collided.
Oh my gosh.
So I did not know exactly what had happened, except we realized that my ball was going directly to the right over the out of bounds stakes, and there was a lot of feathers flying all over the place. So that was probably the worst and most frustrating round of my life, and I finished with an 88, the worst round of my college career. So that's the frustrating side of golf. On that same note, golf can be embarrassing. When I was, about a year later, I was playing a tournament at a Swope Memorial Golf Course here in Kansas City, and I hit a shot that looked like it was going to be great. Landed right behind the hole and spun back, and all of us thought the shot had gone in the hole. We were high-fiving and celebrating and screaming, and they could probably hear it from the other side of the golf course. As we walked down the hole, I realized my ball was sitting about 1 inch behind the hole, and I actually had not hit a hole-in-one my first time in my career, and I still have not got one to this day. So golf can also be embarrassing. Golf sometimes is those things, but most of the time it's a good time, and I can tell you many stories about times I was more proud of myself and surprised myself. A lot of those times are started with times of nervousness. And when I was 18 years old, I got the privilege of playing the Junior PGA Championship in Cincinnati, Ohio, at a course called TBC Rivers Bend. And I showed up to the course and knew I was completely overmatched. I was out of my league. I had never played in a tournament this serious. I played the practice round with players committed to schools like LSU in Arkansas and Maryland. And I played that practice round. The course was way too hard for me. And I went to bed that night thinking about how the television crews from Golf Channel were going to be there videotaping my embarrassing shots all over the place. Well, it turns out, I don't know how it happened, but I had one of the best rounds of my life that day. That next round, I shot a 67. I don't know how it happened. I still don't know how it happened to this day, but I was in second place, and now I have a picture of myself on the leaderboard, a few shots ahead of a player that some of you may know is Jordan Spieth, who's now ranked in the top 10 in the world. So sometimes golf can be surprising, and that's the times that keep me coming out and keep me wanting to play. And it's amazing how much emotions can really affect how you play the game. As you may notice, Rory McIlroy has been having a great career this year, a great year. And early this year, he actually broke off his engagement with his fiancée. And amazingly, it seems to have freed up his mind. Sometimes emotions can be affected in a weird way. It obviously did not work so well for Tiger Woods. His emotions went the other direction. So just hopefully this speech and understanding that the emotions of the game will give you a different light on golf the next time you see it on TV or next time you think about playing.